Hey, Spuds, it's Jamie. Welcome back to another video. First one channel. I don't know, but welcome either way. I'm very glad to have you here. And today we are going to be ranking some of the most shocking, newsworthy, and spoken about LGBT plus moments of the past year. Some are positive, some are negative, and all are shocking. Some of them are actually kind of neutral, like they're not specifically like really pro LGBT or like really positive news that came out about the LGBT plus community, but they're also not like homophobia or anything like that. They're just kind of like, oh, that's a thing that happened. My shock ratings are not going to be based on like morality of the event that happened, so I could rank something negative and something positive within the same shock factor. However, one of them will be shockingly amazing and the other one will be shockingly shit. I am gonna say which is which, but I also think it'll be pretty obvious. So are you ready, in no particular order, for the most shocking LGBT plus moments of 2025? Bah. I feel like I'm a little bit late with this video, but nah, it's fine. Okay, first up we have Kelly Clarkson breaking the internet with a wink and in one fell swoop, 1 second of television, becoming a lesbian icon, even though she's not a lesbian. Here we have a lovely little photo. Also, I've never done one of these ranking things before. They just look like fun. I am not 100% sure how they work, but I think I get the gist of it. Basically, S will be the most shocking things and D will be the least shocking things, and it will go on a tier ranking scale from that to that. Okay, back to Kelly Clarkson. So she was singing a song by the Outfields called Your Love, and she winked directly into the camera. She knew what she was doing. She winked at that camera as she sang the line, "You know I like my girls a little bit older." You know I like my girls a little bit older. And this moment went viral. The virality was driven mostly by lesbians and bisexual women who were now weak at the knees for Kelly Clarkson, but also plenty of straight women who were now very much questioning their sexual orientation and debating whether they would leave Keith, their husband, for Kelly Clarkson if the opportunity arose. I think many of them settled on yes, they would. Very fair. Clarkson herself was never identified as anything but straight, at least publicly speaking, but she did discuss the wink and say that it was deliberate, it was a playful moment, and if she were a lesbian, or bisexual I guess, or just not straight, she would go for an older woman. So how would we rank this moment? It was everywhere. I hadn't heard about Kelly Clarkson in a very long time until this happened. I remember seeing it all over the internet, and I feel like the queer women of the world united over this moment, and also united with many of the straight women of the world. I feel like I would give this a mid-tier shocking, because this is one of those ones that's like, it's not super like positive news about the LGBT plus community. It's also absolutely not homophobia. It's kind of like in terms of what happened, but the way that that took over the internet, I think it deserves a solid B. Yeah, that's what we're gonna go for. Next up we have gay ice hockey show that was a book becoming a global hit. So heated rivalry, the like slow burn rivals to lovers ice hockey extravaganza, I don't know, it's taken over the internet recently. It started off as a book. It's part of a series of book actually, and I think it's the second in the series. I have a friend who's recently discovered it and he's like, oh my god, this is the best thing. And I guess the surprising nature of this is that I think the TV show was on the low budget side. Maybe they felt like, well, who is the audience for a gay ice hockey show? Especially with many sports being infamously homophobic for particularly men, filled with toxic masculinity and queer culture just not gelling the best for the most part with sports and sports fans, mostly because of said homophobia. But Heated Rivalry is a show that's been popular across the board. I did an actual dive into Heated Rivalry's success and also how it's kind of beaten some anti-LGBT bans from Russia and circumnavigated homophobia in a video last week, so if you want to go check that out you can. But apparently it's also popular with straight men who are sports fans, so this is pretty cool. So that feels like the surprising side of it, but unsurprising is sports romance, including gay sports romances, are quite a trending thing at the moment in the book world, and those books are making it to television. The show already had a very dedicated and quite large fan base from the book series, and the book series was written by Rachel Reed, so maybe less shocking when you take that into context. I guess it's kind of like Heartstopper, where it's a good show on its own, not shitting on the quality of the show at all. However, I don't think it would have been anywhere near the success that it was had it not had an incredibly dedicated and passionate fandom already behind it because of the online comics and the books. So I think this one, whilst very cool to see, not just because of the ice,
Wow.
And like it's made some real waves and some real progress, and like we love to see LGBT plus identities being embraced more within sports and toxic masculinity discussed and broken down. But shocking? Not really. Personally, I wasn't shocked by this. But I feel bad giving it a D, so I will go C. Almost not shocking, but just a little bit in there, mostly because it's crossing gay with sports, which infamously does not go together, particularly when it comes to like men within sports. And now we're moving on to something very lovely that I feel like a lot of people would agree with, and that is Jonathan Bailey being voted as the world's sexiest man. However, this became a big thing because he's the first openly gay man to receive this honor. Made history, first sexiest gay man alive, openly gay sexiest man alive.
Viero. Winky country.
And I mean, Jonathan Bailey getting this isn't a shocker, just look at him. But given that an openly gay man has never had this title, that's kind of surprising. It's big news, it's a step in the right direction. It's shocking because it's like, wow, but also shocking because how did we get to 2025 and this is the first time this is happening? So I would rank this relatively shocking if we take away the way Jonathan Bailey looks and his absolutely insane success with Wicked and everything. I think I would rank this the same as Kelly Clarkson, but in a very different way. This is more like the shockingly positive type thing, where it is like really is a step forward for LGBT plus rep and just positive news, but it loses a point. It would have been an A in shocking if Jonathan Bailey weren't quite so attractive. But yeah, very well deserved. And then, for all those Pitch Perfect fans out there, I am one of them. Pitch Perfect is my comfort movie. Oh my god, whenever I'm feeling a bit down, there is a specific episode of Bob's Burgers that I watch, and Pitch Perfect.
What is wrong with you?
Well, Pitch Perfect's Aubrey, played by Anna Camp, Anna Camp, the actress, came out in 2025. I feel like this was a surprise if we look back at Pitch Perfect, given the sheer amount of queer baiting between Becca, played by Anna Kendrick, and Chloe, played by Brittany Snow. They should have definitely ended up together in the movie. Like, get rid of Jessie. Put Jessie in the bin. Becca should have been with Chloe. There was so much chemistry there, so much tension. Why did they not do it?
Ricochet. I'm so glad that I met you.
But movies aren't real life. And it is Anna Camp who came out of the closet in 2025 via a viral TikTok video. I think it wasn't even like a announcement video. It was just her answering a question where she happened to reveal that she was in a relationship with another woman.
I don't expect anything.
Yeah, not a lot.
That's great.
And I think it's really beautiful when people get to a point in their lives where they feel safe enough and comfortable enough to just live as themselves and be really open about it without feeling the need to hide. But this also comes after Rebel Wilson, who was also in Pitch Perfect and played Fat Amy.
Fat Amy. So twig bitches like you don't do it behind my back.
Came out in 2022. So Pitch Perfect turned out to be a pretty gay movie, but just not in the way that fans expected it to be. Shocking? Shocking. I don't know if this is shocking. I think it's cute. I like seeing it. I like seeing people being able to live their best lives, but I wouldn't say it's a shock. Maybe if you tied Anna Camp too closely with her character of Aubrey, you might be shocked. But I think I would put this on the same level as Heated Rivalry. That feels right. Yeah. I feel like I'm not going to be putting anything in the D rank. I've learnt this reading books and how I rank them. I'm very, very adverse to giving anything a 1 star, and the D rating just feels like a 1 star to me. I don't know. Okay, next up we have quite a big one. I still don't know where I'm going to rank it, but it was very, very big news. This was probably the piece of LGBT plus news and conversation that stands out the most in my memory, and that is Jojo Siwa shocking everybody by dating a man. And then also the subsequent discourse around that was also quite shocking. So in 2021, Jojo Siwa came out as a lesbian, and since then she's been very loud and proud, attending events and like with rainbow hair and like trans supportive things and like rainbow outfits and everything. She has been going full throttle seemingly in her gay era. But in 2025, Jojo Siwa entered the Big Brother house and she faced homophobic comments from Mickey Rourke, which are very disgusting, to be honest. And I feel like I didn't watch the season, but this felt like the first moment that she connected with this guy called Chris Hughes, who was on British Love Island a few years back. He defended her against the comments from Mickey Rourke, and they developed quite a good friendship. Then after the Big Brother house, the two confirmed that they were in a relationship together, and Jojo Siwa redefined her sexual orientation as queer rather than a lesbian. I know that Jojo Siwa is like the Marmite of LGBT plus personalities out there. She's seen as very controversial. She gets a lot of hate. I think she's accused a lot of being incredibly cringe. And And I'm not gonna get into the nitty gritty of her online personality. I don't know how I feel. I don't think I know enough because I just kind of know like the headlines of things that happen. I think she's a really young person who's been in the spotlight for an incredibly long time and is going through a self-discovery journey incredibly publicly. It kind of reminds me of people like Miley Cyrus, who got slated for a period where she was trying to break out of her Disney persona and is now like really grown into herself and is not quite so controversial. But I don't want to comment on that. I want to talk about the principle of the situation. So someone coming out as one identity, especially at the age that Jojo Siwa did, but at any age to be honest, because self-exploration is always fine. But someone coming out as one identity and then realizing that that doesn't fit them and actually they're this identity and relabeling themselves is totally fine and shouldn't be used to erase their LGBT plus identity because that feels kind of biphobic, and nor should it be used to erase their past relationships. Jojo Siwa just happened to go through her sexual orientation exploration very publicly. And I do think a lot of the discourse that came out after she said that she was now in a relationship with Chris Hughes did read as kind of biphobic and panphobic because it was people being like,
oh, well, she was never really LGBT plus in the first place then because now she's in a relationship with a man.
And it's just discounting her actual identity and her past relationships. You can still be a woman in a relationship with a man and not be straight. In my opinion, the most shocking thing about the whole situation was watching it unfold on TV and seeing people's reactions to it. And also the accusation that Jojo Siwa apparently dumped her ex-partner at the Big Brother after party. That felt quite shocking, and I know there were some like accusations of cheating floating around, but this whole situation did create some pretty big ripples and was really spoken about. So I think if we are ranking shocking LGBT plus moments of the year, I do think Jojo Siwa has to be at the top. Not that it's shocking that somebody's like, hey, I use this label to identify myself and I realized that's not quite right. Bleh. This is who I am. Just the whole discourse around it and the fact that it happened on Celebrity Big Brother and the fact that she was in a relationship when she went into the Big Brother house and then dumped this person to be like, I'm gonna go be with this man now. That whole situation just felt very like, whoa. And then the way it was reported on and everything that came out afterwards was just like, felt very messy. This one to me is definitely right up there in shocking moments. Now going to a somewhat more serious matter. It's not very serious, it's just not as unserious as Jojo Siwa news. LGBT plus ally Zoran Mamdani becomes the mayor of New York City. So he went viral after apparently asking a DJ to play Kim Petras' music. Kim Petras is a musician and trans woman. He's shown himself to be a fierce LGBT plus ally, including to the trans community specifically. And his election win in New York means that he's actually gonna have some power to make changes that will hopefully have a positive impact on the LGBT plus community, which is very desperately needed. And in the whole election race, he actually started off as the underdog. So I guess it was quite shocking that he ended up winning given where he started. But before the election actually happened, the polls did put him at quite a sizable lead, and then he ultimately won. I think this is one of those moments that was like positively shocking. I'm in the UK, but like kind of seeing how Americans reacted to it, especially given all like the shit that's happening in America right now, not just for LGBT plus people, but generally, to have some like positive political news come out of this and to see that like clearly not everybody is going to be voting for the people that are just going to make the country worse and worse for everybody. It was a pretty like happy, shocking moment that I think, given he started off the underdog, given the state of politics in the US at the minute, even like worried that New York being more liberal than other places, can he win this election? And he did. And the strength of his allyship towards the LGBT plus community, I'm going to rank this an A. I think this goes between Kelly Clarkson and Jonathan Bailey and Jojo Siwa. Yes. In like a very good, positive, palate cleansing moment of LGBT plus news. Vivian Wilson verbally destroyed Elon Musk. I did not know who Vivian Wilson was before this, but I don't think it's surprising because she's done very limited press interviews, but does post a fair bit on social media, so I guess if you're not in those circles. But she's posted a lot about her estranged father, Elon Musk. And in 2025, she did quite a rare interview with Teen Vogue where she commented on a lot of things and took some very pointed, very well-deserved jabs at Elon Musk, including calling a spade about the Nazi salute, wanting as much distance as possible from him, and calling him a pathetic man-child. I don't give a about him, I really don't. It's annoying that people associate me with him. I just don't have any room to care anymore. Cool. Sorry, I just had to very quickly add a photo for this one because I knew I forgot something. Oh my god. Okay, but ranking on shock factor. So I guess shocking because she doesn't really give much press interviews. Not shocking because why would you want to be associated with a man like Elon Musk? But also shocking just because of the brazenness at speaking out against somebody like that. I think when people have difficult relationships with parents, away from the public eye, away from them having all of this money, away from them being such famous bigots, it's difficult to speak out against what they're doing and to do it on a public stage against someone like Elon Musk. That's a pretty cool move. That deserves some respect. I would rank this a nice solid middle shock. Like, not shocking given what Elon Musk says and who he is, but shocking because it's not something we see those connected to him say very often, or at least not in like press interviews, maybe on social media, but not in this kind of capacity. Major brands noticeably retreated from supporting Pride celebrations in 2025. This one is shit. So I think in 2025 there was quite a clear hesitancy in pulling back of brands to be involved with Pride, to support Pride efforts, to put their money where their mouth is when it comes to Pride and supporting the LGBT plus community. And these were brands that historically were quite loud and proud at Pride. And now they see it as risky rather than good for business. They've all gone very tight-lipped and putting the money back in their pockets. It feels like there's a lot of brands out there that are no longer prepared to stick by the LGBT plus community now that they can't see it as a money-making thing, even though they've promised allyship. This kind of thing came in the form of major brands pulling out of sponsoring Pride events, less rainbow logos, a reduction in brands mentioning Pride online in social media, minimal Pride ranges or hiding their Pride ranges or only having their Pride ranges available online, and a lack of Pride campaigns in both traditional and social media. As an LGBT plus creator, where typically being in this space, I've done a lot of my brand work over the summer and over like Pride season from May to August time. For the past 3 years, I think it's been truly abysmal, but I've still seen non-trans, like so cis, like gay and bi creators get Pride work. But last year, I barely saw anything. Like trans people have not really been part of Pride campaigns in a massive way. Like brands have been quite scared of supporting trans people for several years now, ever since the whole Bud Light thing. I think we're starting maybe to see a little bit of comeback, but not around Pride, just kind of quietly. But last year was really a year that I noticed that there was such quietness. There were tumbleweeds when it came to Pride campaigns. And this really does show that for a lot of these brands, it genuinely has been performative all these years. Some still did kind of discreet shows of Pride, but that still kind of felt icky because it's like, right, it's nice that you're doing something, but at the same time, you were very happy to be loud and proud about this when you thought it was going to make you money. So community-led support and support on the back end and support of like LGBT plus employees is still lovely to hear that it's happening. But when the brand always used to do that and they used to do public-facing Pride campaigns, but they've dropped all the public-facing stuff, it just kind of feels like, you know, they're scared. To be honest, whilst horrible, this has been building for years. This is not shocking. This is just shit. And so I would put this one, actually, do you know what? I'm gonna do a 1 star on the shocking. It's not a surprise. People have been saying it for a long time. Even when all the brands were putting their money into publicly supporting LGBT plus people, everybody was like, when this is no longer seen as profitable, when some major politician really pushes back on this kind of stuff, they're gonna all go and hide and not do their Pride campaigns anymore. And that's what's happened. So not particularly shocking. Oh, I'm so dumb. I got very confused. The images are so tiny. I did have a Vivian Wilson image. It was this one. So this image will remain on the board until the end. I was like, I only have 3 left to talk about, but there's 4 pictures. Okay. Oh, but I need it to go away. I'm going to put this one here as well so that, yes. Okay. We're going to do that. Vivian Wilson just gets double rep on the ranking chart. Over 100,000 people attended London Trans Pride in 2025. This was at the same time that a straight Pride hetero awesome fest in Idaho pulled in a massive crowd of dozens, yes, dozens of people. Whilst Trans Pride in London had a record-breaking 100,000. Tens of thousands compared to tens. And this happened in the same year that the UK Supreme Court made a ruling that changed the definition of woman for the purposes of the Equality Act, basically just transphobic and excludes trans people from certain protections, and it's very shit. So the show of resistance and resilience and pride and speaking up at London Trans Pride and also Brighton Trans Pride, which was also very, very big this year, was very important and very needed and powerful. And I will say surprising, because I was worried in the lead up to Prides because the Supreme Court ruling happened in April and Trans Prides happened like July, August time. And it was kind of like, are there going to be a bunch of allies that now step back or are worried or don't want to support anymore? Are there going to be a bunch of trans people who are scared to show up and be openly trans in public at Trans Pride? But no, it went the opposite way, and there was more support than ever, and it was beautiful to see. And I do think it really hammers home when TERFs can gather a handful, literally like a handful of them, maybe 2 handfuls outside of a shop on a high street of a weekend in the rain, and trans people can pull together tens of thousands of people. I think that shows the disproportionate power that transphobic rhetoric is having at the minute in the UK and other places, but obviously this is a UK trans pride I'm talking about. This extreme transphobia really is in the minority. Unfortunately, the voices have been loud and powerful enough to be listened to, but I do not see it lasting forever. And I do think 100,000 people attending London Trans Pride really helps prove that point, that there is a lot more love out there for the trans community than there is hate. The hate is just particularly powerful at the moment, which is a bit scary. But how shocking would I rate this? Like, yes, shocking, because it happened in a year where there could have been an expectation that trans people and allies would be a bit scared to attend these kind of events, but they're not shocking because this is the exact moment to show up for the community. So I think I'm going to put it down here with Heated Rivalry and Anna Camp. Yeah, but it was a very, very positive moment. That was lovely to see. Renee Rapp clapped back at Betty Who? Who?
My name is Cindy Lou Who.
I've never heard of her. I actually haven't. Apparently, Betty Who made some controversial comments about identity, including saying that she would hold space for Renee Rapp to ultimately find the love of her life in a man. Renee Rapp, the open lesbian, to find love with a man. It sounds pretty dodgy to me, and many fans were really quick to jump to the defense of Renee Rapp, but she can hold her own, and she replied to Betty Who with, "Don't bring my big lesbian name into your mouth and into this drama." Betty Who did apologize afterwards for her words and explained the context a little bit more. It seems like what they were doing is explaining their own experience of sexuality and fluidity, but for some reason brought Renee Rapp into it in some weird hypothetical situation that just came off as offensive. It's totally fair to discuss how you as an individual have experienced sexual orientation and thinking that you're one sexuality or identity and realizing that's not right for you. I mean, look at Jojo Siwa, right? But you can't be suggesting or assuming that ending up with a man is even in the realm of hypothetical possibility for someone who has only ever said publicly that they are a lesbian. It's just a bit weird. It wasn't the worst thing to say, but it was incredibly bizarre to just be like,
"Hey, person who is openly a lesbian, let me use you as an example for somebody that I'm gonna hold space for ending up with a man one day. I'll accept you if you turn out to be straight or bi or whatever."
just no, let's not do that. Not incredibly shocking that somebody would make these kind of comments though, to be honest. I wasn't particularly shocked. Maybe I'm gonna do another D. I mean, I like Renee Rapp. It wasn't something that I saw do massive news like a lot of the other things on this list, and I don't find it particularly shocking that someone would say that, and I also don't find it particularly shocking that Renee Rapp would clap back, because of course she's going to. So yes, D. I feel bad because I feel like ranking things lower like is diminishing their importance or their value, but I'm literally just saying that they're not quite as surprising as other things to me personally. We're on to the last one, everybody. We made it.
Excellent.
So the Ultimatum Queer Love came back for a second season and it was a hot mess, okay? I feel like the summer of 2025 was kind of taken over, especially places like TikTok, by the drama surrounding the TV show, reality TV show, The Ultimatum Queer Love. It was like every other post that I was seeing on social media for a period, and it was specifically about certain people on the show. So if you don't know what it is, The Ultimatum is a reality show where there's like straight couples and they do an ultimatum of like, one of them wants to get married, one of them isn't ready yet. The one who wants to get married lays down an ultimatum of like, propose or we break up, basically. And so they made a LGBT plus version, and I think this is all lesbian couples, and they basically choose a new partner to like trial a different relationship temporarily to see if the person that they're with in real life is the one they want to be with forever. It honestly just sounds like a recipe for drama and heartbreak and mess, and it just feels like one of those shows that isn't actually designed to help people, but is designed to just be as dramatic as possible for reality TV. I'm super against ultimatums in a relationship anyway, and making an entire TV show based around a ridiculous ultimatum. Like, I get it if you're saying to your partner, hey, I'm ready to fully commit to this relationship on like a marriage level, and I just kind of want to know that you're in the same place with this relationship in terms of seriousness and how committed you are to us. I think that's a fair discussion to have, but I do not agree with this whole like,
propose to me or we break up.
if you really want to marry somebody, if you love somebody somebody so much that you want to spend the rest of your life with them, why would you want to break up with them just because they don't want to propose to you right now? Unless you've had that conversation and them not proposing is indicative of a genuine deeper issue in your relationship. If it's just a case of they're like a bit slower or they're not sure how they feel about marriage generally and it's got nothing to do with how they feel towards you, that's just such a bizarre thing to do. It's such a bizarre way to have that conversation, and I don't agree with it. Anyway, the drama of season 2 of the Ultimatum Queer Love filled social media. There was various dramas, including a drama surrounding Spotify called Spotify Gate, where apparently a Spotify playlist being played was seen as like somebody must have cheated. There were accusations of love triangles. A trial couple even got matching tattoos. And overall, fans and the media labeled the season as incredibly messy. Also, just another little piece of drama that is away from that season specifically, the Ultimatum Queer Love has now been cancelled after just 2 seasons, whilst the straight version has just been renewed for a 4th season. Although personally, I just think it's the kind of format that needs to be cancelled across the board. This does not help anybody. It just feels really toxic. I don't like it. Shocking? I'm not shocked that there was massive drama and mess that came out of a TV show like this. I just don't think it's surprising. I think it was shocking the amount that it took over social media, but I don't think it was shocking that that level of drama existed in the first place. The show feels like it's literally designed to be dramatic in that way, to cause that level of mess and conversation. So I'm going to rank it here, yes. And with that, we conclude the ranking of the most shocking LGBT plus moments of 2025. Oh yeah. And that is it for today. Let me know if you agreed with my rankings. Obviously you can disagree, that's fine. This will just be the things that I personally found more or less shocking, that entered my realm of social media and discussion, more so or less so or whatever. But yeah, I'd be really interested to hear what you think, if there were any big moments that you think I left off the list, if you like this kind of format, because I have a bunch of other ideas where we can rank some more things, which just seems very fun. I enjoyed doing this. But yeah, go leave your comments down below. You're going to see some names up the side of some lovely, lovely people who support me over on Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting me over there. And a big shout out to my top tier Patreons. Where are you? Kietasha, Elias the Main Man, Night Soul, Sugar Joe, Elden K, Nesta, the Third Hat Man, Max Mix Mods, Dylan Irvin, River Champion, Chloe, Anna Balash, TNS Mum, Sally Drew, Randy, Alba, Marv Mallow, Rachel Raptor, Jesse Emerson, Gosco, Ciela, Slayer, Sarah Hobbs, The Paisy Prince, Riley Ray, Bill Dead the Show, _Mars, Claire Henley, and Marin. I did it in one breath. Oh my god, I'm so proud. Yes. If that list gets any longer, I won't be able to do that. Please go check out Patreon if you want to support me over there. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you next time. Much love. Bye.